From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
So, reporting in from the Hampton Inn, Huntsville podcast broadcast area.
Right?
As I always say about Huntsville, it's this little slice of not Alabama in Alabama. So
Yeah.
I've not
It is.
been.
It's not. Yeah. I'm like, this is Alabama. Like, no, this is Huntsville.
it's like
Its own
a
thing.
little slice of not Alabama in Alabama. It's kind of like you're kind of like the munchkin of a donut, you know.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, very well. Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode. My name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
I'm Vicki.
And we're sharing a microphone, so this could get really ugly. Anyway, continuing on, we have in our judges series, we have the judge that has been rescheduled more times than any other judge. I think more times than any judge in the judge series total for all the rest of the judges, because it just worked out that way and our schedule's been junk and he still decided to come on. So longtime Lemons driver, longtime appearances in Lemons videos, member of Ranwin Park Racing and Lemons judge. Otherwise he wouldn't be in the Lemon Judge series. Welcome to the podcast, Corey Dickman. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wow, that was quite an introduction.
We
Feel
had to
good.
make up for
Yeah.
rescheduling issues, so it's okay.
Yes.
I think one time he writes back, "Are we ever going to do this?" I'm like, "Yes, we're going to do this. It's my fault. I'm sorry."
It happened.
Anyway, one thing we suck at is scheduling your podcast. Another thing that I acknowledge not being good at is doing introductions. So what did I miss? Please help me. I need it.
Not much. I mean, everybody on the West Coast kind of knows who Ranwin Park Racing is, and a lot of people from around the country. I actually race with a lot of people around the country pretty consistently. I just never have made it to the Northeast. That's bucket list. Next year, I'm coming to the Northeast to do one of those 3 or 4 races up there, so I can meet I can race with Three Pedal Mafia and those guys hopefully, and race those tracks, because I haven't done them. I've done pretty much the rest of them in the country, and those are kind of the ones that just don't work scheduling wise with me, because they're always a week after a race or a week before a race on the West Coast, which is only 80 miles up the road from my house. So it's kind of hard, right?
So with what you know, we've got 4 Northeast tracks. We've got Pitt Race, we've got New Jersey, we've got Thompson in Connecticut, and then we've got New Hampshire Motorsports Park.
There is South Carolina. I don't know how many people from Northeast go down to that region. I mean, part of our circuit includes South Carolina, I think, doesn't it?
Not unless South Carolina moved a lot and came up to the Northeast, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
that's one of the 2 or 3 in the South.
I thought that
circuit.
was one of our circuits that
That's
we had to do.
No,
Okay.
it's good. So which one would you think would be on your list?
I think New Hampshire or Connecticut are the 2 that I've been told to attend by my East Coast folks out there.
Okay.
I can tell you that one of the best tracks to be on is Pitt. It's a lot of fun to be racing that one. One of the most fun that we've ever had is going to be New Jersey. New Jersey's the craziest one all the time.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I think I've heard the Halloween Hoopty Fest is always a good party, and I'm
It is.
kind of going out there to meet people, and I want more social. Like I have so many hours of track time that's not really the point for me going out there. Learning a new track to me is fun, but meeting the new people and the people that I've talked to, online over the years are kind of what my goal is mainly with that stuff, and hopefully drive a really crappy car.
There's plenty to choose from on that.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So what cars are you racing at currently?
We have a 73 El Camino that started out with a 454 in it. We changed to a 6-liter LS. that was of questionable quality, and then the transmission blew in 3 laps at Thunder Hill. So I got a new transmission and swapped it in, and then we cooked the motor the next day. So all summer I've been messing with new motor swap to transmission, and it's making noise and I can't figure it out. But that is the primary vehicle right now. I'm building a super cheaty E46 LS swap that's going to be a track toy for me for next year, and moving on, something that I can run a little bit of Lucky Dog maybe in next year, the end of next year. But the El Camino is pretty much the primary. It's all I got in the stable right now that's Lemons worthy. So
That's awesome. How did you get into originally? How did you get into the car racing and get involved with Lemons, I guess?
So I've always tinkered and wrenched on cars, right? Ever since I was 14 or 15 years old. But I had a friend that showed me an article in Jalopnik or something in like 2008. And we assembled the team. And in 2010, we came to Lemons with a Crown Vic and a whole bunch of vintage racers that love to chalk up the black flags. And I did my first laps, like third stint of the day on Saturday on a track, and that's been it. I'm about 60 or 65 races in now between Champ, Lemons, and Lucky Dog.
How many years?
I started in 2010, so I'm going on my 14th season right now, actually, starting the beginning of it. Yeah.
Wow. So what are your bucket lists for just being in racing in general?
Being in racing in general, I know it's a kind of a high-low bar is I do want to win an overall on Lemons one time because I've collected all the other prizes, right? I haven't been able to pull that one off or build a car that's capable of that yet. That's not what the BMW is for. That's a wrong car to do. It's too cheaty. I feel like I didn't earn it properly, right?
Way too cheaty.
Yeah, and I want to experience some other tracks I haven't been to. I mean, Brainerd's supposed to be really fun, and Pit Race and all those Northeast tracks that I haven't been to really are on my list of I want to start ticking one off or two off every year for the next few years so I can experience that. I've raced, I think, everywhere else except for New Orleans, except for the Northeast and Brainerd.
You've been pretty much to all the tracks in the circuit?
Yeah, I guess Howlett's new. I've never been there, obviously, because it just came this year. But so in 2016, 14, the pink Rambler that got passed around was mine.
Oh.
And I flew to, I did like 15 races that year. So I was all over the country, right? Like I didn't beat Neil Losi doing all of them, but I was way up there on the leaderboard that year. And yeah, so I've done a lot of them, and I've met such great people through that experience that I still keep in touch with and race with. I really enjoy it. But bucket list wise, I want to tick off some more Lemons tracks, and I want to try and win overall on something that's actually lemony.
Is that why you're wearing the I was Neil Losi before Neil Losi shirt? Is that
right? Yeah.
Okay. Right. Very good. Awesome. So how did you end up choosing the El Camino?
Funny story is I was actually just looking at some kind of parts hauler or something. I was tired of, the newer trucks, even my half ton, I can't reach over the bed, and I'm 6 feet tall to pick up stuff on the bottom of the bed. And it kind of was getting annoying. And I wanted something quick that I could roll into pick and pull and just didn't care about, and throw it in the bed and go, and not have to climb on tires and stairs to get stuff out. And I found a Craigslist ad, and I shared it with my buddy Tim Burr, who I know you guys know.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we went in on it. Yeah, we went in on it together, and here it sits. About I guess we're 2 years into this this adventure. Its first race was I don't know, when was it? Thunder Hill last May, which it blew up swiftly as well. So it's been a challenge.
So you didn't get the memo that if Tim Burr thinks it's a good idea, don't do that?
I kind of talked him into it, and he's encouraged.
So it's your fault. That's why.
Yes, it's encouraging. I'm like, hey, look, a real 454 SS El Camino. We should buy this for $400. It'll be cheap, they said.
It's got more cubic inches than dollars. What could be bad?
It had 0 cubic inches. It had no motor or transmission, and we had to dig it out of the mud. It was buried up to its axles in a field, and we had to dig it out. It was a lot of work.
So, it obviously seems like you are more the mechanic on your team. What other positions do you hold, or is it just a free for all when you get there?
I'm definitely mechanic. When I'm building something with somebody else, the financial decisions are split evenly. I don't like to go more than two people because it gets mucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
And then at the track, I organize driver schedules and I herd the cats per se and make sure that everything's ready. I really am one of the things that I like that I like to do is do the basics good, right? This is a life mantra for me, right? Like if you get out of the car and you need to fill up the Hunzikers, you need to go transfer the gas in the Hunzikers so they're ready for the next fuel stop in an hour and a half or 2 hours, right?
Okay.
It just needs to be done as soon as you're out. And those things I'm anal about, and just keeping everybody moving and as things change, keep everybody organized. So team captain all around type of deal. That's what I do. And then drive. So
Okay.
There's nothing like, Saturday midday. You've been out there for a nice 2.5 hour stint. You're coming in and nobody's got gas. It's great. It's fantastic.
Yep.
We've all
we're
been
too
there, I
good.
think, early in. It was always, when you first start racing, it's always kind of messy. Things fall apart.
Yeah.
A lot of loose ends. But
Oh, I
yeah,
mean, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Our first couple years, we'd roll in and people weren't even in fire suits sitting on lounge chairs. And, because we didn't fuel in the pits in California until a year or two ago, right?
Right.
So everybody be sitting around eating popsicles and the driver would come in after like 2 hours beat up and nobody be ready to fuel the car. We were so disorganized and so bad for so long.
Right.
Yeah, it
Sounds
was
like the
fun
scene
though.
from a movie.
Yeah, it was good stuff though. It was really fun.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
That's all I can say. So, what do you guys, or what do you tell yourself when you're racing, or to amp yourself up when you go racing? Is there something that you kind of like live by when you race, or you just kind of hop in and go?
Um, when I race, I mean, it's that all I have to do is this one thing. I have to pay attention, not hit people, and do my shift and be a good person and try not to kill things, right? I
Right.
don't really amp myself up. I actually still get pretty nervous every time I get in a car. I get butterflies until I get
Do
strapped in
you?
and push the gas pedal, and then it all goes away as soon as you know, as soon as I pit onto the track, I'm good to go. But I'm always like that 15 minutes before getting in, I have jitters and weird things that I'm not yeah, that I'm just like, I know better. I know what's going to happen as soon as I get out there, I'm going to be fine. But that last 10, 15 minutes amping up to it, I still get nervous getting in the car or get butterflies.
So it's very interesting. We've fallen into, at least on our team, we've fallen into a sequence of positions of racers of when they go out. What is your most comfortable spot, and how do you best perform on the track in what position of the day?
So on Saturday, I always go first because I've usually wrenched on the car and I want to make sure it's okay
Mm-hmm.
before I hand it off to the rest of the team. And I don't have any problem with the yellow flags and going through traffic. I actually love it because you pass people the whole time when you're out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little hectic. It's a little crowded. It's a little slow. There's a lot of yellows, but I don't mind. It lets me shake down the car and know that, the people that are not my normal team member that paid to drive are going to have a quality product the rest of the weekend. I'm good. And then I like Sunday afternoon because it's pure chaos, right? Wide open track. All the junk is busted. You're just out there and you can full send it. And I have nothing. I don't have to bring it back to the rest of the team or somebody that's paid to drive because they've already driven. So there's no stress. I can actually work on more speed and put down some fast laps and race a little bit harder. So
Yeah,
if I can go first and last, I'm totally ecstatic when I put it on the trailer.
yeah. At least by that time, you know who's actually worth competing against.
Right.
Everything has been thinned out, and the racing becomes more genuine by that
Yeah.
time.
Yep. You know what your goals are, right?
Right.
Like I got to pass these three cars if I'm going to win, or they're just too far out. Go out and have fun for an hour and a half,
Right.
2 hours.
Yep.
So judging, how many have you judged so far?
I was supposed to do two, so I've only done one. And the second one I got rescheduled and I worked on the hot pits. So that
You're
was
still
Sonoma.
TBD.
Yes. And then I'm judging this year. I'm judging this weekend at Autobahn coming up.
Oh, wow.
and then the 24-hour race in Denver, and then Sonoma again.
Who did you piss off?
I actually asked for it. I last year when we were having problems, actually we won the IOE in the El Camino, but the engine was knocking. And I was talking to Kim, and I'm like, I'm not going to fix this car before the holidays. I have plans to travel. It's just not enough time, right? The time window to stressful. I'm like, can I judge? And she said, you'd be great at it. Sure, let me put you on the list. And that's how it happened.
So let me get this straight. You think this is good? Mid-August, Autobahn, center of the country near Chicago. That's a good plan. And then working a 24-hour race in Denver. You're thinking that people like you?
Oh, people are not going to like me at 3:30 in the morning when I'm angry and mad.
I'm thinking you kicked Ken's cat or something. I don't know.
No, I volunteered. That I was asked. Eric asked once you get put on the judging list what you want to do, and at the beginning of the year, I said these. Like I was going to come out to Thompson, but they had enough people, so I was trying to make my way out to the East Coast, but it didn't work out for either. They had other people that were local that could do it, or scheduling wise for work, I couldn't make it. So these are all voluntary positions. Nobody has forced them upon myself.
We'll see what you say after that Autobahn. That's going to be about 1,000 degrees. It's okay.
Have you raced in any other circuits?
I've raced in Lucky Dog and one champ car race. I've been to Laguna Seca 3 times.
Wow. Yeah, Lucky Dog is right. They're out that way.
Lucky Dog is every track around me every track around me has a Lucky Dog race at some point in time. They're usually a week before or after Lemons. So
okay.
I can't race 2 weekends back to back and know a car is going to survive for the next one, right?
No,
that's good. No, yeah, that would be a bad assumption.
It's really gambling a lot on your ability to keep your car alive.
we had this great thing. We went to our first race and everything went so well, and then we're like, that was at New Jersey, and then 2 months later is the race at Thompson. We're in the intervening time. We're like, well, that was fun. That wasn't so bad. I don't know why people are complaining about this being hard. So we decided, let's bring 2 cars to our second race ever, with 4 drivers who've done 1 race and 4 now drivers who've done 0 races.
And most of them were teenagers.
Poor ignorant souls were you.
It was so easy. The first one,
yeah.
If 1 car is 1x hard, 2 cars is at least 4x hard. And
teenagers be teenagering.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was the race we sent our son out to do the gas for the last time, and he comes back like 2.5 hours later with a plug-in 4x4. I don't know if we had gas.
They decided to go yard sailing.
Oh.
They were on lots
of squirrels between the gas pump and the paddock.
We're like, where have you been? Like, we didn't need the gas right away, but like, where have you been? And he was like, well, we got yard sailing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
It's hilarious.
Apparently there's lots of trees with tinfoil hanging in them in that area of the country. I don't know. Too many shiny things that he could see. So yeah, it's ugly. So no more racing this year, or no more racing just for a little bit?
Road America.
Vicky's got a shot at a seat there, and I can't get her to say yes. So if you could, would you be so kind as to lobby for her to say yes? Just say yes.
It should go. They did it one time 5 or 6 years ago, and they may not do it again for another 5 or 6 years. If you want to drive it in the Lemon series, this is it may be it for a while, right? Depending on how the turnout is.
Would we be hauling our own car?
No, you're flying out.
Yeah.
Wow, that was hard.
When is it?
It's in September.
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 When?
It's the first weekend of October, or it's the second week of October. So Button Willow is the 31st of September, 1st of October. It's the following weekend.
Okay. All right. Let me
7th, 8th, 9th, something like that. Yeah.
We'll talk.
Gary, reserve that seat. I think we got it done. See, the key, Corey, is not for me to say it's a good idea. It's for anyone else to say it's a good idea.
There's just a lot going on. That's all. It's just a lot. That's all. And
there's always a lot going on in life. You just got to take the chance and do it. It may not be here again, right?
I know. I would just be going out with not a lot.
Jennifer.
I don't know if Jennifer can make it.
She already said she would go.
Yeah.
Stop coming up with reasons not to do something.
And then we have the Boston Rally too.
Oh, your life is
That
so
too.
hard.
I know. I have so much fun. I do.
Sounds marvelous.
I know. All right, so let's get to be judging. We have things that you've learned. You've been racing for quite a while. So what do you have a philosophy for your bribes, or do you have a requests for your bribes at your future races?
I don't really have requests. I like local things when I go to places that I don't live in that I can get, like local beer, but not huge 12% IPAs. I don't like, I'm over that quadruple hop stuff, right? Give me something that's a little easier to drink, that's local, that I've not seen before, so I can try it out, right? Maybe pack one in my suitcase on the way home to share with a friend or something. I like that. Whiskey is kind of lost on me. I don't like brown liquor. I don't like hard liquor in general. I like beer. And E46 setup tips would be good for me because coilovers are on the way, and it's time for me to start doing that. that work to it. And something creative that's local to me is fun, right? I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot that I want or ask of people. It's kind of fun to see what people come up with.
So, what have been some of the most epic penalties you've come across?
Epic penalties that I've come across,
or something you may want to give to someone, perhaps at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's that. I'm going to come up with something for that race, because at 3 a.m, if you wake me up from that cot or get me up, I'm going to be an angry man. But I don't really have like epic penalties, but what I like to do is I like to research, like for Chicago, I'm trying to research things that happened in history around the weekend that we're going to be there, right? So we can have people inform other people, or write about it, or give us a novel or a skit or something about that thing in history that it's a one-time penalty that'll never be done again, right? It's just to pass the time and have fun with the local area and play. One of my favorite ones though is the tires in the bleachers. I really like that one.
Tires in the bleachers.
Like when you come in and say your tires weren't performing, you tell them to take off their tires, take them in the bleachers, and sit there and watch how other tires perform that aren't being bad, so the tires can learn their lesson.
That's awesome.
Right, like that one's fun. That's a solid three black flag, 4 black flag setup right there.
I
right?
have never heard that one. That one's awesome.
Yeah, that one comes up on the West Coast. I think it might be just the local judges out here like that one a lot. So I'll probably pull that one at some point in time, because somebody's going to complain about tires and be all red misty eyed, and that settles them down real quick.
I think so. So,
yeah.
So you've got a lot of races and a lot of different tracks. You've got almost the entire country. So what tracks do you think that listeners should attend? Like, what are the can't miss places in your mind?
Sonoma Raceway and Barber. Those two right there of everything I've raced are equally as good. I just love Sonoma. I'll take Sonoma over Laguna Seca any day, and I know that's sacrilegious. I just like the way the track works and feels, and you're so busy the whole time. It's my favorite track, hands down. But Barber is so close to that. It reminds me a lot of Sonoma, which I think that's why I like it so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're about an hour as the crow flies from Barber, so we are.
There's a Porsche school there. Just saying.
I'm thinking I might be sick for the meeting tomorrow. It's coming on.
Yeah.
I'm thinking next year I might drop all you guys off and we should tow a car.
We can do that. Our daughter's in space camp and I'm in a conference for the entire week, and Vicky's now talking about hauling a car down here next year. Okay, sounds great.
It's only 12 hours or something, 16 hours, right? Not bad.
It's easy. It's not a problem.
It's just a day.
Yeah, I know. So I do this every year, at least 2 or 3 times a year, and I always stop halfway. And then on the way down here, my beautiful bride and daughter were all pumped up from finishing their dinner, and they're full of energy and let's roll. Let's just push all the way through. And I'm sitting there going, what? What are you talking about? And no, it was a nightmare.
Regretted it.
It's exhausting.
It's like work.
Yeah.
So cars. I mean, there's been so many great themes. What are some of the best themes that you've come across that stick out?
Because we don't see the West Coast as much as you have experienced.
I'm going to be really biased here, and I think our theme with the Tojin was epic.
Mm-hmm.
The Tojin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I watch the videos and pay attention.
No, I do, but there's, the thing is that there's so many themes. So tell us more about the Tojin.
So the Tojin is an 85 Trans Am that has a aftermarket body kit on that was kind of sanctioned by GM. It was sold in GM dealerships as a add-on package, right? And it is the ugliest, coolest car you've seen from the 80s, right? It has a digital dash, like they did wood grain inserts on it. It was a top of the line Firebird GTA with all the stuff, and then they put 500 pounds of fiberglass on it and made it look ridiculous and put a Lambo wing on it.
Oh.
So my friends in Reading came up with this car in some shady way, which I now own. I took it after the race. And we did a full-blown 80s cocaine dealer, right? Like teal shirts, white jackets, we really did it up, and we did it from Thursday night all the way to the end. And we thought we were hoping for an IOE, but that was the first year they threw out Halloween Meets Gasoline, so we didn't know the rules, and we over-themed it, but we fully sent it the whole weekend.
Over-themed.
We over-themed for the IOE. Yeah. So that was, it was an awesome award. It wasn't what we were going for. We kind of learned a little bit about, like, if you're going to toe the line between Halloween Meets Gasoline and IOE, you need to still come themed for an IOE, but not fully send it the whole weekend where everybody sees it, right? Like, just every once in a while show up in it type of deal. But that was really good. Early on in Lemons, Dave Montoya did they had a Celica and a little Toyota Starlet. And they used to theme them every race, but he did on top of a Supra. He made the space shuttle on top of the Supra. And at Thunder Hill, turn 5 is a hill that goes up, and then it's like a corkscrew, like at the Laguna Seca. So he would be approaching the hill, and all you'd see is the space shuttle, because you couldn't see the cars, the tracks in the back. You'd see a space shuttle just approaching up, and that theme was excellently done all weekend. I would say that's probably one of my favorite ones I've actually seen that wasn't mine.
Just chuckling as you see that looks like the space rocket taking off.
Just a space shuttle, and then it goes over the hill and off it goes, right? Like
Captain's log supplemental.
So, Bill, guess what?
What?
We did the Sentinel. We did the Sentinel.
We did. How did
we
you
were
like it?
You know what? We were talking about the Sentinel.
We have.
It was great. We understood watching how the Sentinel works, but we finally got it into our car, and I got to tell you, that was really awesome. I was able to see every one of my mistakes.
We have hours of them.
We have hours of my mistakes, but we have hours of good stuff too, which is awesome. It actually showed us the speed. Did it show us where we were on track?
We were streaming it
We were streaming it live.
boring billions of people across the world.
But it was pretty incredible. Plus, on it, you're able to put your insignia, your logos on your app also, and the clarity was amazing. It was really easy to put in, easier than I thought it was.
I know, you kept making a big deal out of it. I'm like, it's really not that hard. Until we focused on it, it wasn't too bad. And then we got some help. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You know what? I like the stream because some of the tracks we go to don't have great cell phone coverage, but it's got a USB stick backup. So I just uploaded the high quality video without the cellular interruption. So if you watched us earlier and said, wow, they got from there to there really quickly, you can watch the real video and see that no, we didn't. It's just a cell phone went out. But
yeah. So the learning curve for me, obviously, I'm slightly techno Amish.
Slightly.
When it comes to the wiring and stuff like that, but we get it in, and I love it. We were able to sit there right at the track and watch what we were doing in the car, and that was amazing.
which was good because if you have a problem with your radio, you can tell, if something is going on that you need to know about. Like
Mm-hmm.
a couple times we've had cars come in and we didn't know they were broken. I know it's hard to imagine one of our cars being broken, but whatever. But you can watch the video, and even with the cell phone coverage we had at that particular event, it was like a 30-second delay. So it wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you can compare multiple drivers because you have each of the stints are broken up. So we got to work on not only our driving, but if we wanted to, we could work on our pit stops and see exactly what we do. And there's some things that we need to talk about as a team. And it was pretty good. Like I said, it takes me, once we got the wiring hooked up for the power, I probably could go from an empty shell to a full up setup running Sentinel. I could probably do that in like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you could literally install it in a car before a race. It's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we got to see the driver and the front windshield. And if we want to, we can have three. We can see backwards. Or one of the guys we were going to work with at the upcoming event, he said, could you put a camera on the driver's eyes so we could see what they're looking at? I said, why, yes, I can. Haven't done it yet, but I'll figure it out. I've got time.
Well, I love it.
All right, very well. That sounds like I can buy another one then. Woo! So that's fantastic. So I want to say favorite Lemon story, but you've been around for so long. Do you have a few that come to mind?
I have the story of how Jim Bowman and I met, and eventually Tim Burr, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jim Bowman drove the Rambler back from Colorado or Salt Lake City back to Thunder Hill for the Thunder Hill race. We blew it up in the morning. He blew up his 240 SX. We were pitted next to each other. And he needed to borrow a truck to go to Danville to pick up an engine hoist because nobody at the track had one. And while we were talking about this, I found a Ford Pinto with a little 2.3 Ford motor in it in Hayward. And he found a motor for his 240 SX in Santa Rosa. So geographically in our minds, this is how this is going to go. We were going to leave Thunder Hill, go to his house, pick up the cherry picker. 2.5, 3 hours, right? One way.
No problem.
Go to Hayward, 45 minutes over the hill, load this car on the trailer, and then drive to Santa Rosa, which is another 1.5 hours, 2 hours from there. And then back to Thunder Hill, which is about 3.5 to 4 hours because we make this giant weird loop up the coast and had to come back, right? So for like 7-8 hours of driving, no problem. We left at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Got his cherry picker, no thing. Got to the Pinto. It was in pieces, like the steering rack was laying on the ground. There was a dude that was there that looked like the poltergeist guy, the priest.
Keeper guy? Yeah.
In skinny jeans that were bejeweled. That was weird as hell. And this was his baby car. Yeah, this is his baby car. And it's like 7:30 at night. We're just like, we just want the car. We want out of here. The driveway was like a 45-degree angle down to the garage, and we couldn't back the trailer in. And I didn't have a winch at the time, right, to load it. So it became this whole mess of trying to assemble the car enough to move it to where we could get it on the trailer while this crazy guy was messing with us. And I don't want to, there are a lot of offensive words I can use. I want to leave that out of here. But so we're dealing with the crypt keeper for 3.5 hours, trying to get this car loaded and negotiate how much he's going to let us pay him. Finally, his neighbor comes home, hooks up the car, drags it up the hill. We go backwards around this one-way street that goes around the top of a mountain up in the Bay Area hills and park downward so he can just kind of like let the car roll onto the trailer and strap it down. And Jim Bowman's in the car operating the e-brake and trying to steer it. And there's no bolts in the steering. We leave. It's a big mess. We get it on the trailer and we're just finally like, thank God we're out of there. That took way too long. It should have been like 30 minutes. Load up car, give money, go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to go to Santa Rosa. So we're calling this guy and we're not going to be there till 1 o'clock in the morning or something ridiculous, right? So we go, that guy drops the engine in the back of my truck and we go all the way back to Thunder Hill. And my team comes shuffling out from the tents at like 4 o'clock in the morning. We roll in and unloads a Pinto and starts swapping the motor in the Rambler.
Oh.
And we got the Rambler back on the track about an hour after the green on Sunday, and we got a heroic fix. Jim got screwed because they never got the motor actually running in their car.
No.
It was where Jim and I became very good friends in life, and then how I really met Tim and all of the Sorry for Party guys, right?
Yep. Yeah, indeed. Sorry for Party series is overdue. We had it scheduled and it just never came through. We're going to get them.
Yes.
So, in your opinion, what do you think is something that's probably most misunderstood about Lemons and Lemons racing?
The crush or
Maybe.
claim your car rule, right?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks their car is going to get crushed or it's going to get claimed by the organizers.
For $500.
Yep. Yeah, and that $500 is suggestive, and you need to play in the spirit of it and not bring a shop built car, right? Like, do the work yourself. Don't buy Holly Terminator X's to make your car run, right? Use the stock stuff and you'll be fine. But the $500 rule and the crushing and the claiming is those three things that I think scare a lot of rookies off. And unfortunately, I think a lot of them get to the track the first time that have tried to build a $500 car and look around the paddock and go, whoa, right? Yeah. Like, I am way outclassed here. And then they go back and then they start an arms race with themselves, right?
Start an arms race.
They start arms race to catch up with everybody else that blew them away all weekend, right?
And usually they go slower than when they went there the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, then they start breaking the car.
Exactly.
So why do you feel that people should enter into Lemons?
I think it's the friendships you make and the paddock and just the paddock camaraderie, right? Like, I have friends in Lemons that are my kind of crazy that I would have never met anywhere else. If you're a car person and you're mildly social, then this is a great place to meet people and learn to race and get into the hobby sport, whatever you want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm. And empty your wallet.
Yep, and yeah, burn $100 bills at the same time.
They're like octane, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes,
most of the time.
That's the theory until they're spent. This is the one. This is what's going to make it happen.
Yes.
All right. So, part of the joy of being a Lemons judge and being part of the podcast, we try and get to know you a bit better, and we have what we call in all small letters, no capital letters, the Fast and Furious Storytime questions, because we wouldn't want to have any IP issues with anything that could possibly exist. So, Miss Vicki, your favorite question, I believe, is where you always start.
Always my favorite question is, what was your first car and what was the worst car you've ever had?
First car, a 4-door 1965 Chevelle Malibu.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I bought because the front wrap was intact, and my dad and I were restoring a 2-door hardtop 65 Malibu.
Oh.
So as soon as I drove it home, he made me take the front end off because I was a 16-year-old kid. You know how that's going to go, right? It was an old beater car in the 90s. Yeah. So it was, I donated the front wrap of my car for a beat up front wrap of my car because he knew that I was going to destroy it anyway because I was a 16-year-old boy, right?
Yep.
So, but that old thing had the little 283, a power glide in it, and a little 2-barrel carb. And in the coldest of days, you pump it twice, tap the key, and it'd fire up. It was the greatest run-in little hoopty that I ever had. It was a great car for a 16-year-old kid, right? Worst car I ever owned was the Volkswagen 411 that I gave to Steph Schrader after we won the IOE in it.
Why does nobody like Steph?
Steph wanted that car really bad, and I'm like, that's fine. If I win an IOE, it's yours. If not, I'm going to try one more time, right? And it won the IOE after it blew up at noon on Sunday. So it was a no-brainer. But that car fought me putting it together. I didn't understand German cars, right? Like, you couldn't get parts for it. It just was not Corey's car ever. It was not meant to be in my driveway.
So, in several states, you could have got arrested for violence against a puffalump, right?
Yes. That car was also a free car that cost me a lot more money than it should have.
Freezing quote.
Probably why it was free.
Yes. Yeah. Philip von Wiederhausen from Hella Shitty Racing gave that car to me.
And then laughed as you drove away with it.
Funny story is he gave me the the E46 coupe that I'm building as well for free.
Oh no.
which has not been a cheap car by any means.
No, nothing ever goes wrong with a BMW though. Just wait, you'll see.
It's-
So what is your race car number and why? And do your cars have names?
No names. I mean, right now I'm calling the El Camino the Hell Camino. We've always kind of called it that, but it is dragging me through hell. Its number is 3 because it's so Earnhardt redneck that we couldn't not put it on the side of a 73 El Camino, right?
Mhm.
The other cars have been like usually such well thought out numbers, like the year of the car on the door or something. Like I'm not very creative when it
You're fancy.
comes to that stuff. I'm just like, it's a 76. 76 goes on the door, done, right?
Yeah, it works. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had dumber numbers. I don't remember what the one that comes to mind because it's not coming to mind, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the year that the manufacturer of the car actually for all my IOEs is what's been on the door of it, whatever year it was.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
So, what is the one thing that no one knows about you that would surprise them, or limited amount of people know about you?
That I'm actually pretty introverted. So when I get back from the race weekend, I am exhausted in a mental way that on top of the physical stuff shuts me down pretty hard, right? Like I don't mind talking with people, but when we do it for so many hours, it just wears on me in a different way that I can't really explain to other people that are not introverted, that it hurts me emotionally, right?
It doesn't energize you as it should.
Yeah. No, it
I mean,
burns
it's
me out.
fine. I mean, you have a good time, but it just doesn't enter. Some people that are extroverted, they thrive on that.
Yeah.
No, I get you.
Yeah. No, I'm fine while I'm doing it, but then I'm like, whoof, it's over with.
Exactly. Those humans.
Yes.
Energy suckers. All right. Do you have a car that got away?
I want to say, like, non-race car wise, that 65 Chevelle. I really love that 65 Chevelle, and I really at some point in time want to own a 64, 65 Chevelle again. I just really like them. They're fun to drive, easy to work on. Go. Race car wise, I want to say it was a Cadillac Elante. I really miss that car.
I'm looking.
Let's see. Miss Vicky's still searching around. I had one. What is the coolest car ever?
Coolest car ever. I would say probably a black on black 68 Camaro, an SS Camaro to me.
Oh, 68, not 69?
I don't like the wind wing so much.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you listen to music or do you listen to podcasts when you drive?
When I drive for long distances, I usually queue up a bunch of podcasts. If I'm just driving around town, it's radio.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. Miss Jennifer was unable to make the podcast, so I need to ask her favorite question, which is, what is your favorite car movie or car from a movie of all time?
Oh, this is going to be stupid, and I forgot the name of it. It was the Wraith.
Oh, Charlie
Remember
Sheen?
Yeah, with Charlie Sheen, whatever that Plymouth car was that he had, right? Like that thing is always in my mind. Like, that's the coolest. Yeah.
All right. So if for the rest of your life you could only daily drive and race cars from one decade in the past, what decade would you choose?
It's going to have to be the 70s.
It's what?
It's the 70s. Two-thirds of the Lemons cars I've had have just been 70s GM gunboats, right? Like, there's something to be said, especially the Omega, when that thing was, toward the end of its life that I had it with. There's something to be said about going side by side into a corner with Miata and just keep going, and it's like, what? You can see the guy in his helmet, just like how did that car just or how is that car driving up, staying in my rearview mirror in the corners, and then it had the power to go by him on the front. That car was amazing. The El Camino, when it'll hold together, will be probably equally amazing. The 70s cars, I just love them lemons wise. And if you're talking about daily driving them the rest of your life, just think about like a 75 Coupe de Ville driving a couch down the road, right? Like environmental impact be damned, right? But it's it is just, it's an experience that I don't think new cars capture.
Indeed. All right, so it's always fun when we have somebody in from another part of the country. So in your history, what car would you want to switch into and drive, and at what track?
Probably something like a Mustang Mach 1 at Laguna Seca back in the day.
Oh no, Lemons cars. Which Lemons car?
Oh,
you get to pull the driver out and say, buddy, back of the road, I'm taking over. I always wanted a piece of this car, and now it's mine.
Let me think about what's actually out there.
Could be in the past too. Could be a retired car. You could bring it back for one last ride.
I would say probably that Model T GT that ran out here forever. It was so fast and it looked so crappy, but it wasn't underneath, right? Like it just, it was amazing to see that car on the track.
So, what car from your family sticks out the most in your mind growing up?
It would be the car that my father bought brand new in 1984, a red Z28 Camaro. Ooh. that I learned to drive on. I probably sat in 500,000 miles of driving up and down California in. When I got in it when I was a first kid, all I could do was see the Z28 emblem in front of me. I couldn't even see out the windows, right? And then that car eventually ended up being mine and was passed on to my sister. Like we passed it right through the whole family all together. So that car, that one fits the bill for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good time. So, sir, you've made it through. We finally got this done.
Excellent.
You can cross this off your bucket list.
Let me pull it up.
Item number 1 done.
There it is.
All the rest of them.
Sleep well tonight. I crossed something off the bucket list.
Well, until we meet you judging or race with you racing or figure out how to switch cars and you come this way and we'll go that way, we look forward to meeting you in real space.
Absolutely. Have a great night, guys.
In meat space, as we like to call them.
Meat space. Yes. Meat
space. So if people want to follow along, is there a social media that you throw your exploits out on, or do you keep it?
The only exploits I have is the Facebook page Ranwin Park Racing. I don't understand Instagram, so I don't keep up with it. I'm an IT guy. I spend all day long on these things, so I usually don't spend much time after work doing that stuff. But Ranwin Park Racing on Facebook, you join the group, and I occasionally post stuff there, but I'm not good at it.
No worries. We're not good at podcasting. We just keep putting them out.
Just keep doing it. Yeah. One day, right?
Everybody's like, you get better if you keep doing it. I'm like, do we?
Great.
All right, sir. It was great talking to you, and we will see you someday.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. Thanks.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.